There have been 30 ties since 1974. This is not a big problem. You are mad for no reason.
Hate them all. They're all bad. You ruined a good game.
No, this is what you
ruined a good game.
NFL Week 4 is in the books, people, and we have a lot to discuss. The Seahawks went into Arizona, picked up an impressive divisional victory. Last-second field goal for Jason Myers. James, thoughts on that game and Kyler Murray's performance?
Well, the first half, definitely not a good one. The second half, of course, just sending a prayer to come back. Love the uniforms. Love the logos in the end zone. I thought it was a sick night representing the rivalry jerseys for the NFC West. But, man, every time I doubt Sam Darnold, this man just somehow he finds a way to win. And I'll probably still doubt the guy when it comes to week 16 to 18. But right now, man, he's doing what he's doing, man. He's getting the Seahawks dubs and almost could be undefeated if they would have beaten the Niners.
Yeah, I will say this. It was a frustrating game if you are a Cardinals fan, just seeing Kyler Murray for how he played the first entire 3 quarters of this game. And then he flipped the switch and almost really did come back and give them a chance to win the game. Kyler Murray, he had flashes that we've seen all throughout his career. It's part of the reason why I have just struggled to give up on the guy, but it was bad. It was bad for 3 quarters. If he plays better in any of those first 3 quarters, like at any point, they probably win this game pretty easily, I think. But when you look at a final stat line of 27-41, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, that sounds a lot better than it actually was, and it really wasn't that good. They look like an offense missing James Conner already, and he's not coming back anytime soon. It might be time to put the Cardinals to bed.
Honestly, this sounds bad. I'm kind of relieved that the Cardinals lost in the fashion that they did because I just felt like the cards were going to fall in. I'm like, he needs these wins. He needs to revitalize himself because, again, like myself and many others, we associate Kyler Murray not as a quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, but as the video game player, Kyler Murray. You know?
Oh, damn.
It's just true. It's easy to forget. But yeah, this game showcased a lot of issues and flaws and errors that Kyler Murray and this Cardinals team has. And I just don't really see them prevailing too much throughout the rest of the season.
Well,
where does that leave the Cardinals? Did they make a good decision getting Kyler Murray? Are they going to be looking for a new rookie quarterback, or are they going to go in for a trade?
They get to play the Titans in week 5, so the vibes might be better next week. We'll talk about the Titans a little bit more here in a little bit. Steelers beat the Vikings 24-21. James, this was your over, and it hit. Congratulations.
Thank
what
you.
are our thoughts on this game?
Yeah, no, come out party for Kenneth Gainwell, former, Philadelphia Eagle backup running back. Love the guy. So he was definitely running that rock. Of course, Aaron Rodgers, totally efficient. DK Metcalf, monster game. It's crazy. These Steelers piss us off every week because you see them perform really well either against the Jets offensively, then they lose to the Seahawks. And, they look good this week, and then they should have lost against the Patriots. It's just one of those teams where it's like, we don't understand them, but guess what? They may now have the only shot to get into the playoffs because the Ravens don't know what the hell they're doing on defense. The Bengals obviously don't have a quarterback, and the Browns are the Browns. So who would have thought we all three disagreed this was going to be Mike Tomlin's first year under 500? This man right now is 3-1. They might just make the playoffs and have to play. Hey, might have to play the AFC South on that Saturday, 2:30 Central on playoff.
That one thing I will say, and I'm not 100% sure if I said this, and we did discuss Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, but one thing about that man, if there's a will, there's a way, and he has showed that for years, decades, and proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. I will say this, if anyone needs to do a biography movie on him, it is freaking Denzel Washington, because there was a will, there was a way. Remember the Titans. That's all I know.
Okay. Actually, if there was ever a movie made about Mike Tomlin, we have to cast Omar Epps. And if y'all don't know who Omar Epps is, if you've ever seen House MD, it's Foreman. They are twins. It's crazy. They are twins. All right. Down in Atlanta, the Falcons got in the win column after an ugly performance against the Panthers last week. They get the dub 34-27 over the Commanders, who were once again without Jaden Daniels. This was my over, and like I said, James, that train was whistling all day long.
Heck yeah, man. So freaking to get Bijan Robinson and Drake London both over 100 yards receiving, was great. Hey, we saw Kyle Pitts get in the end zone for the first time this season. So what was sad about seeing him score is that they put the little stat below him and it was like 11th touchdown of his career. And I was like, damn, dude, you are a scrub.
Yeah. But I'll say Kyle Pitts played a great game. He's been playing better this season, off to a better start. Drake London bounced back after he had a slow start.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson did Bijan Robinson things. Tyler Algier running through people. And Michael Penix looked good again. All more flashes this week, 34 points. This was a game, if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, you have to be gushing over how you felt in this game. This was against an NFC team that in the Commanders figures to at least be in the mix. I'm not going to say they're at the hierarchy, even though they are coming off an NFC Championship appearance, playing with a backup quarterback, but this is still a team that had aspirations of contending this year. And for them to get this win in the fashion that they did, in an offensive shootout, and all of their guys were performing, that they drafted high, gotta feel good for the Falcons.
Mm-hmm. And Bijan Robinson single-handedly helped me win my fantasy this week.
Hey, you got him.
The upset of the week happened at MetLife Stadium. The Giants pulled off the upset of the undefeated Los Angeles Chargers for their first victory of the year. Jaxson Dart 1-0 as a starter.
Miss Madison Beer.
He said Madison Beer, and then that's when the compilation of the highlights started. And wow, Jaxson Dart. Oh, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like he brought the world down. It wasn't the most impressive rookie debut I've ever seen. Wasn't a big fan of his celebration after his first career touchdown. Little corny, little cringy, but I've always been a big proponent of, if you score a touchdown in the NFL, you can do whatever the hell you want. You've earned that right. Mm-hmm. However, Jaxson Dart looked good. James, what do you think?
I will say this. I'm not about to hop on this Jaxson Dart train. Did he get a win on a good team that we have gushed over? Yes, we have. But like you said, a 111 yards passing, not that flashy. But really the difference was his legs and just opening up the playbook with Scatabo and even Singletary. I mean, the rushing attack did really well.
42 carries in this game. 42 carries. 10 from Jaxson Dart, but that was the game plan. Run the ball, make it easy on Jaxson Dart.
Heck yeah. And it was just one of those games where Herbert and the Chargers, they traveling from the West Coast to East Coast. The only thing I like about this is Justin Herbert, welcome to the real world finally. Thank you for coming back to ground level after the first 3 weeks. You had me scared, but hey, welcome back, my friend. Welcome.
Yeah, and they wasted a breakout game from Omarion Hampton, who looked absolutely sensational, looked every bit the part of a first-round pick. Quentin Johnston, he got in the end zone again. He looks like he is proving all those, including myself, that doubted him, proving him wrong. He looks like he is coming on strong. Where is Ladd McConkey at? Ladd McConkey, just from a fantasy football perspective, was someone that everyone was looking forward to his prospects this season. He has completely no-showed all season long. He had an okay week 1. But Ladd McConkey, like 1 catch for 11 yards. Last week, 4 catches, 41 yards. Week 2, 5 catches, 48. Like, this is not some prolific stud top 10 wide receiver like some people were projecting him to be.
Right.
Man, who did that? Bro, man, I would never do that.
Not me.
Not me.
His ADP in fantasy drafts was in the 3rd and 4th round. Like, people were believing in some Ladd McConkey this year.
I saw that and I was like, I'm not falling for that.
This is really Hunter Renfro's cousin, bro. Like, they're going to sit in that slot, bro. They're going to eat up these folks. It is what it is. But no, you're right, Spence. I drafted Ladd McConkey in my fantasy team because what he did last year. But, I mean, to be honest, I think this is only happening because of what you mentioned. Quentin Johnson is coming out of nowhere with, 22 catches, 330 yards, and 4 TDs. Like, he had 98 yards this past game. Like, he's been stepping the F up, which I thought he was going to be a bust after he said, Mama, we ain't got to work no more. And there was a moment I thought, Mama, you were going to have to work again because
You're funny for that.
Giants go to New Orleans next week. We could be looking at a 2-3 Giants team.
Saints dub. Screw it. Saints dub.
The Giants were the only team to get their first win of the season this week. The Houston Texans are in the win column. Me and Giselle's Texans shut out the Titans for the first time since 2010. And they also shut out the Titans in that game too, just to see an easy win, even though it was against the helpless Titans. To shut them out and just see the offense. It took them 3 quarters, but to see the offense score multiple touchdowns, even though it was against a bad Titans team, it just was nice. And did the Texans unlock something with Woody Marks?
I don't know. I'm hopeful. Obviously, like I said, there was absolutely no reason for the Texans to lose against the Titans. Wrap it up. We're done. But yeah, I mean, you had Cam Ward go out and say, essentially along the lines of, yeah, we're ass right now. And he feels it. He knows it. He's aware of it. And it's unfortunate, especially coming in as a rookie quarterback. You were the number 1 pick in the draft and you're in a really hard position and there's really not much you can do. You just got to take it. All the critique, all the negative feedback definitely sucks, but hopefully it'll be a better turn of the leaf for Cam Ward and the Titans. Not too much, though, because they're in our division, so I really don't care. But just for Cam Ward's sanity, this was a dub much needed. There was no reason for them to be 0-4, but I'm not 100% impressed. I just hope that this gave them their spark, some mojo, some help build some tea, some testosterone over there, because you guys got some games to play and to win. I mean, we are playing the Baltimore Ravens October 4th, which is this weekend.
Oh,
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm already expecting us to lose. Okay. I was very expecting that to happen. Anyways, guys, let's not.
Hey, the Ravens might give y'all a dub.
Yeah. We'll talk about the state of the Ravens here in a moment.
I'm not betting or counting anything because of the way that the Ravens demolished us during the playoffs. I'm optimistic, but I'm realistic at the same time.
I will say this. The only thing realistic I have to say, one, just glad CJ Stroud's efficiency, 22 for 28. That was great. I know the one video that's been viral is the one sack that he took where no one blocked the nose tackle. But in all honesty, I will say this. I do think Cam Ward's the Titans' future. Cool. I think Cam Ward needs to sit this bench. He has not looked good. I know he was competitive in the first couple games. But if you compare apples and apples, stats and stats, Will Levis was better than Cam Ward statistically. Now, of course, there's still the same record, 0-4, 0-4. It is what it is. But I think Cam needs to sit because I know Spence will agree with me. You want your future playing week 1, you already not a good team. The anonymity, was freaking Jaden Daniels and the football team, the Commanders. But in all honesty, when a division where you're not going to win, and you got a team who's excelling higher than you expected with the Colts, and like I said, Colts are excelling at a high peak. You got the Jags, who we think could make some noise at 3-1. Both teams are 3-1, and now the Texans, who were supposed to win this division, is at 1-3. So really, just sit these next 4 games. Let's see what Will Levis can do. Worst case, what? They're gonna go 0-4 again, and they're just gonna throw you back out there week 9, like. I just don't think it's right for Cam Ward and any rookie to go out there week 1. I don't know why we believe these quarterbacks are Jesus, the Savior, the Messiah, the guy who can part the Red Sea, the whole 9. I just feel bad for Cam.
I just feel like the narrative would be different, though. If he wasn't the week 1 starter as the number 1 overall pick, everyone would be like, well, couldn't you beat out Will Levis? What is he going to learn from Will Levis? I also want to say that. Will Levis is not the one I'd want him to sit behind. I think at this point, I agree with everything you're saying, but in the situation of Cam Ward, he's in too deep now, and the options aren't any better. We just got to let him learn, like, in the fire.
Yeah.
I will say this. Keep the post-game comments real. I loved it. We asked, bro. We asked, bro.
You just got to own it.
We don't get a lot of transparency from athletes nowadays. We normally get just, like, cheesy post-game quotes, which takes me to our next game. The king of the cheesy post-game quotes got another dub this week. The Eagles went into Tampa Bay and took down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a battle of 3-0 teams, and the Eagles got it done. James? Your thoughts?
My thoughts, man, for us to win the game, we only had 17 total yards in the second half. Man, if we're winning games like this, I would hate for other teams to find out how we're going to play in November and December when we figure it out with our first year offensive coordinator. So I don't, hey, everyone every year wants to bring up AJ Brown is upset. He wants to get traded. Jalen Hurts is a junior high quarterback. I've watched all the videos. I've watched it all. But just like they say, everyone says everyone's better than Pat Mahomes. But when it comes to playing Pat Mahomes, you can't beat him. I know Justin Herbert better than Jalen Hurts. When it comes to playing
I've
Jalen
never
Hurts,
said that. Stop it.
I have to say,
every
you
time
better
it
not.
comes to play Jalen Hurts, nobody can beat him.
I
We
do
know
have
it.
someone this week. We'll talk about him in a little bit. I do have someone I think I have moved above Jalen Hurts in my rankings though. But we'll talk about him a little bit later. And I don't think you'll be able to argue with me too much. But keep going.
No, I think I'm done. Other than that, the offense has been fine. Defense, special teams has been doing the dubs for us lately. The block punt, block field goal. The last 2 weeks, it's been great. No, they got a hard win. Hey, you find ways to win, and guess what? Now we got a 4-game stretch where we're playing Broncos at home,
Yep.
Giants, Vikings, Giants, and then the bye week. So can we come out of this 7-1, 8-0? I see that happen.
I think they get the win against the Broncos this week. That's the big one to worry about.
Yep.
I think after that, you coasting, you looking 8-0. Very, very possible. Very, very, very possible for the Eagles. Sad for Baker. He continues to just be on one this year. Tough game to start, but he turned around, made it very interesting there in the second half. And shout out Chase McLaughlin. Longest outdoor field in NFL history. It could have been good from 70. It went to the back of the net. Very impressive stuff. The Buccaneers, they're going to be fine. Tough game. And honestly, if these teams met up again in the postseason, I think we're looking at a game with a spread of like 3 points. Like it would be another toss-up. In fact, I want that. I want these two teams to meet in the postseason again. Give me more Bucks and Eagles. That was a very, very fun game in week 4. All right, moving on. The Patriots completely dismantled and blew out the Panthers. Anything to talk about from this game? It was really, really sad. The Panthers, they just haven't done it. They're just not doing it. James, you were big on the Panthers. What are we doing?
Just don't bet the Panthers on the road. That's the only thing I can say. The only thing I can say, they're 0-3 on the road, but they're 1-0 at home. I don't get it. I mean, oh God, Bryce Young, you killing me. Go 150 yards, and you got Drake May looking like freaking Tom Brady over here. No, it's weird how and at the end of the day, I think it's really just coaching and preparation. So either A, someone's in over their head coaching wise, or B, Bryce Young is not the answer. So something's going on in that organization that we can't figure out. And I don't want to blame Bryce Young because I'm assuming he's a very intelligent kid, because if you can play at Alabama and you can play in big games, you can play under strict coaching, you should be able to figure this out. But I don't know. I mean, we joke about the Browns. We kind of joke now about the Colts being a quarterback graveyard. I mean, look, we saw the photo this week. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield used to be on the Panthers. Now they're excelling in other places. So maybe it's just in Charlotte, North Carolina, Spence and Giselle.
Moving on, the Saints made it kind of interesting. They covered, but the Bills took care of business against the Saints, 31-19. I don't have much to say on this game other than when's it time to pull the plug on Spencer Rattler? He's not won a single game in the NFL.
It's sad, man. You wish you could make that up. You can't.
I know. We're remembering Spencer Rattler from the high school football documentary on Netflix to being a number 1 potential pick, a Heisman favorite, and can't believe it, getting replaced by fingernail painting Caleb Love. It's just tanked your whole career ever since then. It's unbearable. But no, I'll give it this. Hey, I'm glad I cashed the Saints spread. I'm wondering when the Bills are going to play on the road. Who is scheduling these games? Why do they get 3 home games in a row? What are we asking for?
This is my theory behind it. I think they're trying to give them as many home games early before it gets so snowy and bad. Because remember, they have to delay their games a lot of the time because their stadium is open.
Yeah.
Their next game's at home against the Patriots.
Yeah.
The only road game this year was barely a road game. It was at MetLife in week 2.
Yeah, man. When are they going to travel, man? God dang. And of course, there's only 2 undefeated teams. Super Bowl matchup already?
Yeah, that was what a
Yes.
lot of people's preseason matchup was, Bills and Eagles.
Mhm.
All right, moving on. Lions absolutely blow out the Browns 34-10. This game was an interesting one. Jameson Williams, as a Jameson Williams owner, I definitely wanted some of those to be completed. But why was this a press conference talking point afterwards? Lions are steamrolling everybody. Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown look like they are two of the
Mhm.
best at their position.
Yep.
They keep producing every single week. And don't look now, Lions are back on top of the NFC North.
Oh yeah, thank you to this one particular game. I think for the Browns'
Mhm.
sake, I think it's just time to throw out and see. Look, they played 4 games already. Hey, look, now it's time to experiment. Let's throw out Dylan Gabriel. Let's throw out Shador. And guess what? Just throw out Shador right now because you know that's going to be ESPN's talking point. Shador, the Lord and Savior, the man who parted the Red Sea. Man, whoever the Browns face next, man.
Jaguars went into Santa Clara. They took out the 49ers. This was a statement game, in my opinion. Jaguars win
Yes.
26-21. What are we thinking on the Jaguars, guys? Because all the hype in the AFC South was on the Colts through the first 4 weeks. But the
Oh.
Jaguars defense is ferocious, and they have a knack for turning the ball over, unlike any other
Mhm.
team in the NFL this season. What do we think about the Jaguars?
I'm really worried about them because they are in our division, AFC South, but they're looking dang good. And not only that, I really think Travis Hunter put some good spark with Trevor Lawrence. I feel like this is the first season since his days at Clemson where we see more of his personality. I just felt like it was a really good chemistry, really good duo. And ever since then, Jags have looked really, really good. And it hurts me to say that, but proof's in the pudding. It's there.
Yeah, for me, what I'm very shocked about, and I'm pretty sure we all agree, we all probably thought Travis Etienne was going to get traded before
Mm,
the season started. The way he's been balling out has been one thing. Trevor Lawrence has been one thing. I know before the season, we agreed. We thought the Jags were going to make the playoffs, at
mhm,
least sniff the AFC South title
mhm,
because you have all the pieces. Like you mentioned, Spence, the defense, phenomenal. You have these first round picks from
mhm,
Brian Thomas to Trevor Lawrence to now Travis Hunter. And I know Etienne was like a second rounder or third rounder, but at the end of the day, this team has all the pieces. I was really shocked because me and Spence joked last week that we thought the quarterback was going to be Curtis Rourke and then end up being Brock Purdy. And for them to get a win like
mhm.
this against a team who a lot of people thought are going to win 10 games, a lot of people thought are going to be a NFC representative, it was a statement win.
I think
Absolutely.
so.
Now, short week for the Niners. They are the Thursday night game this week. Brock Purdy didn't practice Monday, but they did list him as questionable for this week already, on
Mm,
the short turnaround. So I question if Brock Purdy was 100% healthy for this game, but not going to take away much from the Jaguars. They're playing great right now. Speaking of those Indianapolis Colts, they finally came back down to earth this week. The Los Angeles Rams beat them 27-20. Tutu Atwell got loose for an 80-yard touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the game. I don't know if
mhm.
y'all saw the Spanish broadcast of that. I don't speak Spanish, but
I
I
don't.
will never turn off a Spanish broadcast on a big play in any sport. They are always the most electric thing I've ever heard in my life. Thoughts on this Rams victory?
I'll say this, after an emotional loss where they should have won against Philly,
Mm,
definitely a good way to bounce back. Matt Stafford looked great. I want people to like study how you're supposed to set up your star receiver, like for all
mm,
other teams,
mm.
because you know how, like, for
Yeah.
example, we hear how, like, these guys ain't getting enough touches. These guys, just watch the Rams film tape because if Puka Nakua, like you said, he may be now top 2, top 3 receiver in the NFL. You're telling me 13 catches? My man got 13 catches for a buck 70 on a Colts team, and they've been doing this every week. Like they make sure, like they're telling you, like, hey, we're gonna throw the ball to Puka, and if you can guard it, good luck. But you're
Mhm.
not going to. And I think that's what all number one receivers and quarterbacks should watch film on Matthew Stafford and their offensive playbook towards Puka because golly, you want to talk about that clip that we always see with Kobe and Shaq? That God
Oh,
is them.
Now, this is what I was referring to earlier, James. I have always kept Matthew Stafford way too low in my quarterback rankings. I'm ready to say it. I
oh.
think Matthew Stafford's a top 5 quarterback.
I have no issue.
Currently?
be the standard big four that everyone always talks about. Allen, Lamar, Burrow. That's the big four. Now, some might take Burrow out of that because he's hurt right now, but like that's the big four, and no one really argues it. Then the next one, and that's kind of where people get hot takey. Before the season, I had Jalen Hurts there. The way they're both playing this year, plus their resumes from the past, I think I have to put Stafford above Hurts right now. Even in his old age, even with his health concerns, the way he spins the ball, and it helps when you have two elite wide receivers in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who I think is top 3 at this point. The way he commands this offense, they are a threat to win every single week against any opponent. The Rams are for real. I'm very high on Matthew Stafford right now.
I'm okay with the ranking at him at number 5 because you mentioned if you're calling a spade, you're calling a resume. They both have almost the same resume. Like,
and then you go to eye test after that. And what I've seen from Matt Stafford this year, I'm not a Jalen hater. This is way more pro Matt Stafford.
Yeah, no, this is more pro Matthew Stafford. And this is, I'll kid you not, this is a team I don't want to see in the playoffs. I'd rather play Baker. I'd rather play Jared Goff.
Matthew Stafford did his part in that Eagles game. Yes, they kind of choked the lead away, but he set his team up with a chance to win the game. And then Jordan Davis did Jordan Davis things, but that was not on Matthew Stafford.
No, not at all. I have no debate on this one because I would take Matthew Stafford over a lot of quarterbacks.
I know you're not going to do over Jalen Hurts, but you thought about it.
Definitely over Justin Herbert. That route.
Yeah, I'm like,
Matthew Stafford's playing better than just about everyone in the NFL right now. Big on Matthew Stafford. MVP potential here. He's got MVP potential. If we get more voter fatigue from people wanting to not vote for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson might already be out of the race if they're 1-3 and he's injured and possibly going to miss time. And maybe it's time to shift my attention over to Matthew Stafford for this MVP run. I'd be curious to see what the odds are because he's someone. What's the opposite of voter fatigue? The voters might look at Matthew Stafford and be like, this guy deserves it on his resume. And if he has a great year and the Rams are a top 2 seed in the NFC, that would be a good pick. Big on Matthew Stafford. I am high on him right now. Bears. Ben Johnson, don't look now. 2-2. Caleb Williams playing good football. Clutch football, by the way. Yeah. The Bears get the dub 25-24. What do we think on this game?
That was crazy. I'm not even going to lie to you. That was perfectly said clutch football. I was fully preparing for the Bears to lose the close game, but they ended up winning close game.
Yeah, no, I thought they were going to choke this game. Of course, the field goal block came in. Everything on the board said the Raiders were going to win this game. You saw Genty go.
He had 3 touchdowns.
Go bananas. And
this
you were like,
coming out party.
This was, you were thinking like, all right, Raiders going to get this in the bag. Geno, I don't know what's been going on with Geno. We kind of praised him. I know I did a little bit higher thinking, okay, he played really well in Seattle. He should do well in Las Vegas. But lately, he is just throwing pick after pick after pick. And, I mean, he's literally the definition of big pick energy because everyone can catch his balls. But no, Spence, I'll say this. The craziest play, though, was that fake flea flicker. That was a very intriguing play. I said, man, I felt bad for the cameraman. He was like, man.
Yes. You didn't even know.
All right, the other afternoon game. The Chiefs remind us who they are, and they take down the Baltimore Ravens in convincing fashion. Some might say this was a statement game to get them back to 2-2, 37-20. The bigger story to me in this game, one, Patrick Mahomes, he's fully back. He looks like the guy that we thought he was, and James, you said it earlier, everyone always talks about where Patrick Mahomes stands in the quarterback rankings. I'm not someone that's ever wavered. I think he's the best in the game, has been, continue to be for the next few years. But a lot of people be chirping about him and say, oh, he's not the best. And then he does something like this and just reminds us who he is. But for the Ravens, what do we think about the Ravens right now?
Don't care what anyone says. What on God's earth? We joked about this last week, Spence. You have 11 guys on the defense. What the hell is going on? Like, it'd be one thing if you left 40 points scored by god dang Bills. That's one thing. But now, man, you are just letting everyone a lick on the Ravens. And obviously, we grew up historically. Ravens got a tough defense with Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and
Mhm.
all these mofos. What on God's earth is going on?
Yeah, well, this was a crazy day for injuries for this team. Not making excuses. Every single team in the NFL has injuries, but this is crazy. Listen to this. Players that were injured before the game against the Chiefs. So going into the game, they were already down Nnamdi Madubuike, Broderick Washington, Patrick Ricard, Travis Jones, and Kyle Van Noy. That was going into the game. After the game, they have now added Lamar Jackson, Ronnie Stanley, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, and Nate Wiggins to the injury report. So just to keep track of the ones they added, that's their two-time MVP starting quarterback. That's their all-pro left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. That's their all-pro middle linebacker, Roquan Smith. And both of their starting cornerbacks. I've never seen a team just in 1 week just get completely depleted of all of their assets and all of their great players. And the Texans are coming to Baltimore next week, and this is a battle of two teams. It's shocking that they are 1-3, and one of these teams is going to be 1-4. And look, for the Texans, this is a team that they've never been able to get past.
Yep.
As a Texans fan, I don't even care if it's an asterisk win against Cooper Rush and a bunch of rum-dums. I don't care. It would be so nice to get a dub, a singular dub against the Baltimore Ravens franchise. We'll monitor the injury reports throughout the week, but tough times in Baltimore when it comes to those injuries.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I'll say this, Spence and Giselle. When are we going to start treating John Harbaugh like Mike Tomlin? Because they both kind of have this similar resume. When's the last time John Harbaugh won that Super Bowl? Godly, I think I graduated high school. I'm 32 years old. It's been a while. Like, your quarterback was
John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh wins playoff games, though. He may not get back to the Super Bowl, but that's the difference between him and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin doesn't win playoff games anymore.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. I want respect from John Harbaugh in that regard.
I'll give you that. But, man, when are we going to start looking at this, man?
Because you're not wrong.
Because guess what? It's either him or Lamar. And who are you cutting first?
My thing is they have everything that they needed. This is what I said before the season started. The Ravens have absolutely everything that they need to win the Super Bowl, to clinch that AFC championship title. With a loss like this against the Chiefs, the question that remains that just sticks within the AFC, it's, these big kahunas get close to wanting to beat the Chiefs, but they never end up doing it. The only reason why I put more faith into the Bills and Josh Allen is because of what he's done thus far and how well he's showcased, despite the fact they don't have these really big star-studded names on their offense like the Ravens do. At this point, you have a noteworthy head coach, a noteworthy quarterback, multiple noteworthy people on your offense and defense. At the end of the day, if you can't win a game like that, bye.
Yeah. If they lose to the Texans in week 5, there's going to be some discussions in Baltimore.
The fatigue of Lamar Jackson being MVP as many times as he has, at this point, I think they give it. Yes, he's a great quarterback. Yes, but it's never enough. It's like, so sorry you can't beat the Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl, but here's an MVP reward. If the Ravens aren't able to showcase and like really do the dang thing this season with all their phenomenal assets, hit the road. Hit the road,
Jack. All right, Sunday Night Football, game of the week. This was a blast of a game. You don't think this was game of the week?
Game of the week ends in a tie? I didn't know we were a Powerpuff League.
Oh,
Powerpuff. I didn't know T-ball.
Oh, okay.
Only T-ball players tie.
Let's talk about this dumbass take that James has. Hang on, Giselle.
That was a great game, James. Don't even deny it.
Yeah, let's talk about
don't end in a tie.
Overtime.
Great games don't end in a tie.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
The only reason why
we are American football. We are not soccer.
It's the new rule. Remember, it's the new rule that they implemented.
No, they did change the rules. Yes, by everyone getting a possession after a touchdown, but you could still tie. As I've always said, and I'll say it in a nice way. You can bleep this out. Pussies tie. That's all that is.
That is so stupid. College football needs this, because then I wouldn't have to hear all these SEC fans bitch and moan about losses that they had at the end of the year that could have possibly been ties. And also, you're mad about ties. There have been 30 ties since 1974. This is not a big problem. You are mad for no reason.
Hate them all. They're all bad. You ruined a good game.
No, this is what you
ruined a good game.
You constantly overlook this.
No.
Sometimes Teams don't deserve to get a win. There's so many times we look at back on games and we
the
say,
Cowboys
they didn't
deserved to
deserve to win, but they somehow pulled it out of their ass. This would have been a game that neither of these teams deserve to win. The tie is better here.
The tie is not good. Tie is not good. I'll say this tie was only good for one reason. The Cowboys didn't win. So good for me.
First tie in NFL or in franchise history for the Dallas Cowboys.
Good. I mean, still at the end of the day, it wasn't the game of the week because
yes, it was.
No, there was no winner.
So wrong.
NFL 7-year-old baseball.
Are you kidding me,
dude? Yeah, there was no winner. At the end of the day, we look at wins and losses. We look
no,
at
we
wins
don't.
and losses.
No,
yes, we do.
You
yes,
look at wins and losses, but literally the record is now going to be 2-1-1 for the Green Bay Packers. You look at ties too.
Yeah,
especially
Argentina's got the same record.
Hang on.
Argentina.
When we're talking about a contender in the NFC, you absolutely are going to be looking at that tie at the end of the year because it's going to be a very weighted half win.
Nope. I don't give a dang about no tie because guess what?
It doesn't matter what you care about because it's going to matter in the standings, James. It doesn't matter what your opinions are. The tie is going to affect things in the
I didn't know we were caring about your opinion too.
We care about your opinion here.
About my opinion.
No, there's no opinion to care about here, James. You're saying the tie doesn't matter and you don't care about it. I promise you're going to care about it at the end of the year when you're separated by a half game from the Green Bay Packers.
The Cowboys and the Packers will, not the real teams. Lions don't care about that.
James, Eagles that doesn't make sense. When we are fighting for seeding in the NFC at the end of the season, that half game is going to matter. You're crazy to think that. You can take the big, the Eagles are 4-0 in first place. We ain't going to care. You can take that approach all you want, but the other teams in the NFC are absolutely going to be affected by a half win.
Am I the other team? No.
The other teams in the NFC.
You said the Eagles are 4-0 and all the other teams will worry about.
You can take that approach if you want. It's wrong, first off, because the Eagles will lose some games coming up. They will be in the mix for seeding at the end of the season. And I think the Packers are going to be in that mix. The half game is going to loom large, and you're going to be like, wow, they tied that game. That's huge for the standings. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I'll say it like this. As a team that is in contention to win the Super Bowl, we'll play you wherever, whenever. And I don't care if there's a tie or not. At the end of the day, you ruined the game of the week with a tie. Ties are bad thing.
You hate ties also because you're a college football fan, and they play 8 overtimes until players about to die because you want to talk about pussies. These are little boys playing college football, hitting each other. Yeah, you can go and play forever. Hang on, James. Y'all can play forever in college. You can't do that in the NFL or people will die. You have to have a stop at some point. And it doesn't do that in the playoffs.
I'm actually going to knocked out of the first quarter. I'm going to talk about don't act like you care about that.
I do care about that.
Because y'all can call Tua CTE all day when he gets hit.
But it's just weak stuff. I never hated on Tua. I hate on Tua when he's healthy, not about him getting concussion fingers.
Look, at the end of the day, if you want me to critique the college football OT, yeah, I don't like going into 8 OTs. I don't like the 2-point system. But at least one thing, NBA don't tie, MLB don't tie, and the college football don't tie.
You left out the biggest sport in the world, soccer, by the way.
Guess what?
Oh, soccer sucks.
Guess what? Americans don't care about soccer.
The whole world cares about soccer, brother.
I said America.
Okay, great.
I said America. Let's be
technical. America's biggest sport, the NFL, has ties.
Yeah, because they're
because they're pussies.
Too. Yeah, they are. Yes,
that's just a stupid take, dude.
It's okay. You can hate it all you want, but at the end of the day, everyone hates a tie. Everyone cares about wins and losses.
But they're not such a big deal to be like NFL's stupid. There's been 30 since 1974,
and guess what? They've all sucked.
No, you weren't alive for most of them, first off, and none of them really were that big of a deal. They just ended in a tie.
That's fine.
I didn't mind the tie.
I hate
it because it was a really great game.
Exactly.
I loved
it. To diminish the whole game, that's why it's stupid. You can hate that they're ending in a tie, but for you to say the game sucks, it was a scoregami also, by the way, and that's always fun.
To me,
that is always fun.
I wish they did double overtimes because then I feel like if they went one more, we would have really been able to see the winner. But I'm also okay with it being a tie. And like Spencer said, I am going to validate his point. It is going to have a weight in the standings within that NFC division. I don't think it'll affect the Eagles too much, but I think it will affect the teams such as the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are going to do everything in their power to hold on to that damn tie.
The NFL has had ties since 1920, bro. It's always been that way. And that's the way it
That's
should
fine.
be. Neither
Guess
team
what?
deserves to win. Neither team deserves to lose.
And guess
A
what?
tie
Hey.
is fine in the regular season.
Hey, just like in baseball, it never used to be a pitch count until someone brought it up, and now people love it. At the end of the day, just get rid of the tie, have just wins and losses. You want to change the format, be my guest, but someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. At the end of the day, that's where I stand. That's fine. I didn't say you were wrong.
I don't like the pitch clock in the MLB.
I don't like. I like the pitch.
I love the
clock and
pitch count. I think it works. Makes baseball more fun to watch.
It's a better experience when you go to the game for sure, but I don't know. It kind of sucks in the postseason.
It's
I knew we were gonna argue. I knew we were gonna argue about that, James. I knew it. I knew we were gonna argue about that. I saw your bitch ass tweeting about it. Like,
Say it for
dumbass.
the people in the back.
You were so hyped, and that's why I came ready with stats tonight because
That's
I knew you were
fine.
gonna make a big deal about something that happens in less than 5%. Less than 5% of overtime games. 5% of games that go to overtime end in a tie.
Hey, man, it's called cutting out the variance, and that's what it is. It's a variance.
Anyways, about the game. Let's talk about the actual game.
What was good about the game? It ended in a tie. It doesn't need to be talked about.
There were 40 points dropped on both sides. There's plenty to
That was
discuss.
80
Are you
points
really not going to
total.
talk about the
Come
game
on.
because it
No.
ended in a tie?
Ended in a tie.
All right. Okay. Well, we can kick James out for this part, Giselle. Did you have any crazy takeaways about this game? I was very disappointed in Micah Parsons. I know
Yes.
he had the high Pro Football Focus grade of the week,
Yes.
but only one sack, and it was like kind of a gifted sack.
It was. There were so many times that Micah literally just could have blossomed and be like, yeah. But he didn't. I'm like, who told you not to perform? Who told you not to do it?
Yeah.
Who
And
still has you?
And I'll say this, I really did want to talk about this. So I'll just assume he's a big Dak Prescott fan because anyone that watched that game on Sunday night had to be impressed by what they saw from Dak Prescott. Had a connection going with George Pickens, who, man, Steelers really messed up getting rid of him for nothing when their number
Yeah.
2 wide receiver is Calvin
you.
Austin with 2 catches every week. But I
I
don't know,
will say
man. I was impressed with Dak Prescott. Tough game, tough defense, prime time, and he showed up.
This is my theory. One thing about Dak, if it's going to be played in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, stakes are high. He always finds a way to win. I would just like to see this happen in the playoffs. Until that happens, I don't really care. It's always one great regular season game, and they always end up winning the Thanksgiving game that they host. Those are the 2 games that are always good, that they always do well. But you asked for the playoffs. Where them boys at? I don't know.
Dallas's hopes, they just got to find a way to avoid Green Bay at all. It's just, I don't know what it is. There's just
Say
something
this.
about Green Bay.
Green Bay basically wins that matchup against Dallas when played in Dallas almost 9 times out of 10. But I will say, I really expected not only Michael Parsons to do a lot more, but I thought towards the end of the game, Jordan Love needed to heat up a bit more. The stakes are high. You're playing against the Cowboys in Dallas. You have to make a statement win if you really want to finish out strong. And I felt like he took his foot off the gas, and I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
And I wanted to see Matthew Golden a bit more.
Yeah,
He helped
well,
me out in my fantasy, but I
he
wanted to see him
finally-
do more.
He finally got on the field more. It was encouraging to say the least that he's actually on the field more, getting some more snaps.
Mhm.
But last night, Romeo Dobbs.
Dobbs.
Dude, that man
bro.
Dobbs
If
was-
you started Romeo Dobbs in fantasy, congratulations. 'Cause that was
Congrats.
a deep dive, and dude had 3 tuds. Crazy game. Crazy game indeed. Game of the week, definitively. I don't care what James says.
Game of the tie.
Oh, good one, James. Let's go to Monday night.
Bro,
Trash
game of the
games on
week.
Monday night too. Dolphins get in the win column though. They're finally on the board in 2025. The Jets though still remain winless. We didn't get to watch a whole lot of this one. We were recording some college football stuff. But going forward, Dolphins, they got to win. But they lose Tyreek Hill. I've never seen someone in my life more excited to tear their ACL than Tyreek Hill. Dislocated knee. Sorry, yes. It did look really bad. I've never seen another athlete like just look so pleased to be maybe, I don't know. We don't know yet. We haven't heard the medical reports, but probably out for the year.
Yeah.
He knows that check's guaranteed, and he knows he's out of Miami next season.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, what I'll say, Spence and Giselle, about this game, one, glad Miami won because, of course, the heat was coming on Tua. Everyone was getting on him. Cam, all these other guys getting on him. I thought Mike McDaniels was going to get fired if they lost this game, so I think he kept his job safe for a couple more weeks. I will say this, even though the Jets are 0-4 and cryptic talk that we might to say about the Jets, glad they suck and all that, they have been pretty impressive. They're in these ball games. They're not like the Panthers, like on their 3 road games. They've played well to win. Yeah, this game they came out with the 2 turnovers, but they gave themselves a shot to somewhat tie the game or even take the lead at the end, but they just couldn't get the onside kick and they couldn't stop the Dolphins. But yeah, they've been impressive through Aaron Glenn. I have no problems with what the Jets are doing. I like how
I was going to say, it's the Jets' identity is completely flipped from what we would have thought at the beginning of the season. We would have thought ugly, run the ball, play good defense, and try to squeak out ugly 13-9 victories. All their games, they've been putting up points in the ones they've actually competed in, save for the blowout they had against the Bills. But in that game, they lost Justin Fields early on. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe I was wrong a couple weeks ago when I said that I don't think you're getting much more from Justin Fields that you would get from Tyrod Taylor. But I don't know. Jets, Dolphins, Patriots also will include them. I don't care about any of these teams anymore. The Bills are on a freight train running away with that division. It's over already. The Patriots might have a chance on the outside to get in at the very end of the wild card, but that division, I'm done with the AFC East in 2025. I'm already there. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
It's over. We don't care. Last Monday night game was definitely a snooze fest. I hardly watched any of it at all, but I didn't miss much. The Broncos get the dub, 28-3. The Bengals got to do something at quarterback. Jake Browning is not the answer. And unless they want to completely just throw away this season, which it looks like it's probably going to be what they end up doing anyway, the Bengals got to do something. Now they're 2-2, so they bring in someone like Kirk Cousins. I don't know. What do y'all think on something like that? They bring in a Kirk Cousins. They bring in a Russell Wilson. What do you think about this Bengals team?
Dude, no Russell. Bad juju. He needs to call it quits. Kirk
It
Cousins
would be better than Jake Browning, though.
Well, this is true. This is very true. I would prefer Kirk Cousins. I would like the Bengals to try to stay alive for the sake of potentially not wasting another season. There's so much talent and youth on this team that I don't think they have the expenditure based on these guys' age, okay, to just throw this season away. I really don't think they should throw the towel in just yet, but I think they definitely need to look at their options. Kirk Cousins, anybody that could be better than Browning, because Browning, that's what he's doing to his trousers because of how bad
he's Browning his pants.
Literally.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah. Shout out to anyone that's dealing with all the Bengals that they drafted in fantasy, thinking it was going to be one of the best offenses in fantasy like it was last year. Yeah, I'm dealing with that. A lot of Chase Brown, a lot of T. Higgins shares that I'm trying to offload myself on. It's bad. But that is it for week 4. We'll see y'all this week for Big Pick Energy on Thursday. And until next week, y'all take it easy.